Hello everyone and welcome to episode 4 of the G.O.L.E. lore summary. This time we are in Metrica province. Sorry there's been a bit of a break in my videos lately. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't really get around to it. I didn't at first, and then I kind of got ill, and then work got quite busy, and I've got this trip away that I'm doing, which means there won't be videos for a couple of months. So I apologise about that, but I'll explain that in a video close to the time. So I'm planning to do a couple between then and now anyway, so but yeah, so apologies about that, but hopefully we can crack back on. So last time we looked at Plains of Ashford, which has a ridiculous amount to say about it, so hopefully this time I'm trying to be too bad. Why am I going around, I don't know. So there was a lot less to say about this area, but there's still a few interesting things, because of course you couldn't visit this area until Eye of the North came out. So it was kind of late introduction for a lot of G.O.L.E. players, so they didn't have that much time to build up a lot of lore. But even so, there's still plenty to say. So if we start off with the in-game description, Metrica Province is part of the Tarnished Coast and is the primary territory of the Zura. Many labs, both ancient and modern, can be found throughout the province, and that's kind of the theme of the things that link into G.O.L.E. 1, as we'll see. The fact that they're in these ancient labs. Am I being attacked? Yes, I am. Brilliant. Oh, God. Oh, that was easy. Anyway, while we're doing that, I'll go close to here. And it's a starting area for the Zura characters, as anyone that plays Zura will know. Rotterdam's down here, which is the race's capital city, and it borders Caledon as well, which is the Sylvari starting area. So they kind of share the same zone. Now, this is known as the Tarnished Coast, as you can see here. This whole kind of area. And it's kind of different to how it was in the first game, because it kind of extended around here a bit more. It was that kind of dimensions rather than up here. So in terms of general linking, there was an area called River Nurse, which kind of went off about here, and I think it would have gone into where Caledon is now, so, or at least up to about there. So it was that was the area you went in. So you only ever really went into this bottom half, you know, funhouse kind of on across. Actually, you probably went up a bit here, but yeah, you didn't go really far up north, so it stretches a lot further north. And then you were able to access the Tarnished Coast. The only thing that I can think of in general terms is that just northeast of Rotterdam, they set up a G.O.L.E.M foundry, the Azura, and that would fall in really nicely with this area here, the Hinterlabs kind of area. And this is a very key starting area. In fact, I might as well just hop over there while I'm still talking. And you can see this is an area where golems are kind of still a big part. It's just like right outside of Rotterdam, so it's a big experimenting area and lab area. But like I say, not much of this area in general was accessible. So yeah, it would make sense that there was a foundry kind of around this area. You can see it's very, well, industrial in terms of Azura, but yeah, there's golems just patrolling and all that stuff. So after coming back here, I don't know why I came over here, because I've got to go straight back over. Oh, bollocks. Right. Okay, Quattle, back to there. So the first location I really wanted to go into was, that was quick, Old Ula Lab, which is an abandoned lab of an Azura named Ula in the Ak Wilds, and it's just here, so I might not be able to go into it. I doubt I will. Plus, I've got to do the event if I do so. Bear with me a second, I'll just get over there. And basically, it's been locked since this Azura's death, but you're able to open it, and doing so triggers an event. I think it's called, yeah, Protect All's Research Crew. Now, can we get through? No, we can get through here. That's alright. Yeah, you need an energy crystal, which is something you randomly get as drops in like kind of the area, and you probably have got them and no idea what they do. Well, they're used to this event, so it's kind of cool. So you can go in there, and you stop saying kind of cool. I realised I said that a lot. And there's an event which basically takes you through the lab, and you end up fighting like a projection of Ula. So I'll explain that now. But she was basically an NPC you came across in G.O.L.E. 1. Should may as well leave it on that. And she was involved in two of the key missions. One of them was called the Elusive G.O.L.E.M, and the other one was Genius Operated Living Enchanted Manifestation, which is actually the acronym. It creates the acronym, sorry, G.O.L.E.M, which is where the name comes from. So she specialised in creating golems and other humanoid creations. And as with many Azura, she was kind of arrogant. She was aware of her abilities, and she got frustrated when others disrupted it. So her way of resolving this, if you will, was to keep herself hidden away where she could work in peace. And the elusive Golemancer is essentially about tracking her down and finding her. So she doesn't really welcome visitors, seeing as inferior. And as such, she kind of developed a really extensive security system. And in that mission I was talking about, the elusive Golemancer, you have to break into this lab and kind of find her, seek her out. So yeah, you kind of experience that firsthand. And she's a necromancer in the first game. She was actually meant to be a ritualist. I'm not sure why they changed it, but as you'll see about this event and the notes she leaves behind, you get this link between necromancy and golemancy. So yeah, during this event, and this is all, this guy, you've got to protect him and his team, you get hollow projections of Ula that appear, and she's like documenting her work and her discoveries as she's doing it. And they basically focus on her security and the fact that because she was a necromancer, she tried to combine golemancy, the school of the act of creating golems, if you will, and necromancy, which is obviously what necromancers practice. So according to that, she was actually succeeding, and she managed to get her golems to harness the power of life and death. And then she kind of like ponders what this could lead to, and it seems to suggest that she might be like thinking of taking over the Arcane Council or something, which is kind of smacks a bit of Inquest kind of talk. But then, however, there's a later log, and she fears that she may have dabbled a bit too far into necromancy. She makes a decision that she's going to bind her essence, as she describes it, with the core of her golem, which is called G.O.L.E.M. Don't know if you meant to say it like that. Ensuring that it survives after her death. And she considers this to be a triumph. Now, others would say this is a real big mistake or whatever. And it's kind of, this is, as part of this event, you end up fighting this veteran golem, which is tied to her essence. And yeah, so you see the downsides of what she's actually achieved. But yeah, that's kind of what the lab's about, really. She wasn't a major character in the first game. Like I say, you did interact with her, and there was this mission revolving around her. But there was an Azura called Vec, who I'll mention later, who kind of accompanies you from the beginning, and he's the first Azura you meet in the game. And it's all to do with what he recommends doing and things like that. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting mission to do, but there's not that much more to it. However, there are some notes that she leaves around in Guild Wars 2, and this refers back to some things in Guild Wars 1, so I think it's worth reading some of them out. So there's the secrets of necromancy. They're quite amusing. So make sure target's completely dead. Half-dead targets don't reanimate correctly. Smarter subjects in life do not necessarily make smarter undead subjects. Love your work, but avoid falling in love with your work. And Veloxian sauce is not to be used as an embalming fluid. She has a to-do list, and this refers to Guild Wars 1, so that's why I want to mention this. So discredit Zim. Now, his actual name was Zin, but I'll explain in a second. But anyway, yeah, he was another Golemancer that you could come across as the players in either North in the first game, and he was more involved with the Shining Blade and the War in Kryta than anything else, because without going into him in too great a depth, basically he was exiled from Azuran lands for his experiments, and he ends up working with the humans and helping them out, but you come across him. And he actually creates a golem called M.O.X. Sorry. And the player, you can have him as a hero in your party. And it's the first time you kind of really interact with golems and things, I guess. Because obviously you can tell it what to do and things, so it's cool. And yeah, that was kind of Zin in a nutshell. His name, this is what I was is meant to be referenced to Invader Zim, the child's cartoon thing. I don't know if anybody saw that, but that's why he's always referred to as Zim. But his name's Zin. It's forever frustrating him. So she basically just says, discredit Zim, the old coot, for burning my books in public. So obviously a bit of rivalry going on there. And then her second to-do list thing is perfect Golem crystal power siphons using necromancy. Note: remember to ask Olivia about necromancy bedside manners. Ha 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 ha. No, there's not that, but just ha. Now Olivia was a GW2 hero as well. I say as well, M.O.X was, but yeah. And she was Crichton, a human, member of the Shining Blade, so pretty standard really. But she was pretty dedicated to her homeland. She said she'd do anything for it. She was trying to find a solution, and she was also a necromancer, like Ula, as you'd expect by why she's asking her about this. And you came across her in Either North, I think. Yeah, Either North. There's also a shopping list for hard apple cider, a head of lettuce, eggs, drake or scale but not crate, and a current issue of popular G.O.L.E.M. And then there's a list entitled Arcane Council Payment Checklist, but I think it's a bit wrong. A bit wrong? It's not wrong. It's a bit long. But here you go. It said, one thing it does say actually is that she mentions here she regrets getting Xin banished. The reason I won't read out the whole thing is because there's a lot of it, but you can read it for yourself if you want. But I don't recognise any of the names in particular. It talks about the Arcane Council really. But anyway, it says, regretted getting Xin banished, almost regretted getting Xin banished, almost but not quite, take that Xin. So she is the reason, or at least part of the reason why Xin gets banished, so that's quite interesting. But yeah, that's basically Ula's Lab. The event I recommend doing is kind of cool. You get a bit more of an insight into, there I said it again, okay, it's very interesting. I recommend doing it if you want to kind of get a snippet of GW2 lore, I guess. And it might encourage you if you want to go back to the first one or play it for yourself. Recommend checking that out. Right, Old Flamin' Lab. This is the last thing I want to show you. There's only really two things. I'm going to take a drink. Okay. Yeah. Now this is an area called Arturgan Woods. Now, you don't really know when looking at the name necessarily, but it's actually a lockdown lab of a guy called Gad. And now, I'll try and go there. Basically, he was an elementalist NPC, again, that you came across in Either North. They describe him, the in-game description is a cantankerous, demanding old Azura who prefers hiring disposable humans to help him with his lab and experiments. Now, apparently this is partly due to necessity, because you later find out that many of the Azuras won't actually help him. Because he... Can you go in there? Can't remember. No, it's part of the story mission, you go in there. But this is it anyway. And they won't help him because there have been loads of accidents, I put in inverted commas, that are befalling his past assistants. So he has to turn to humans, and he claims to have employed a group of rebel humans fighting to restore peace to their homelands, which is almost definitely the Shining Blades referring to, which he said he couldn't care less about. He allows them to test his inventions, and if they survive, purchase them, or purchase a few of them. He is still widely respected, but he's given quite a wide berth because of how unpredictable his experiments are, and you know, you might say typical Azura, but I think his death rate is ridiculously high for his. Kind of ironically, I guess, he dies in one of his own, I wouldn't say experiments, but there's a mission called G.O.L.E.M, the acronym, but separated, in Either North, which is a key story one, and Gad actually dies in that, trying to increase power to the golems. The destroyers are attacking you, basically. And, yeah, that's his kind of last-ditch attempt to stave it off. And the other Azura don't really seem to like him, especially, or Vec would seem to suggest that as well. But you later find out, because Vec seemed quite stricken by the whole thing, and then you then find out that Gad was actually Vec's father. So it kind of leaves a bit of a sad note about the whole thing. And I mean, there's hints in that the fact Vec's also an elementalist, and you know, and he, as I said, he's the first. He was the Azura hero that could join your party, and he was the first Azura you came across in the game as well. So, his name. This is the last thing really to say about Gad, I guess, is that there's a guy at ArenaNet called Kevin Gad, who is a game designer and engine programmer, so it could be him. Or Professor Egad from Nintendo's Luigi's Mansion, which I've never played, so I've no idea. But let me know if you have. But yeah, I don't know about things like that. I was thinking of putting in the trivia stuff, because there's kind of... I don't know how much they've done in Guild Wars 2, but in the first game they were really good at putting in references like that. It was awesome. So I'll probably try to keep it in. Anyway, that is pretty much Metrica Province. Not much more to show you. It's an awesome area though, I love it. Great jumping puzzle here as well. So, but anyway, I hope you all enjoyed it. And hopefully the videos will be a little bit more frequent. Thank you for watching as always, and I will see you all soon. Bye!